It's Wednesday, the 1st of January. It's New Year's Day. I'm Ciara Evans, and on today's episode, we're looking back at those we lost in 2024. From actors to musicians, from icons to legends, we'll pause to celebrate the lives of all those who left us during 2024.
Grab a cup of something hot, put up your feet, and get up to speed on the 7 biggest stories of the week. This is the Standout 7 from the Smart 7.
It's news,
but not the news.
2024 saw the death of a number of big names from the world of music, including Fat Man Scoop, Sergio Mendes, best known for his hit Masquerade, and Marlena Shaw, best known for California Soul, a hit song which helped define the sound of the 60s. And in one weekend, we saw 3 big deaths, including actress Maggie Smith, Beverly Hills Cop star John Ashton, and the extraordinary character and country music legend Chris Christopherson. A Rhodes Scholar, acclaimed songwriter, film actor, and winner of multiple Grammys, as well as a Golden Globe. He was 88 years of age and had been retired from music since 2021. Known for writing classic songs like Me and Bobby McGee and Sunday Morning Coming Down, he starred opposite Barbra Streisand in A Star Is Born. Here he is describing how life before fame helped him with his songwriting and acting.
But I had done a lot of things I've worked on as a laborer in Wake Island, and I'd worked in Alaska on the railroad and firefighting, and 4 years of college, 2 years at Oxford, 5 years in the Army, a couple of years flying helicopters out in the Gulf of Mexico, and I'd been a lot of things, and I'd done a lot of things.
Best known as brother of Michael, Tito Jackson, an original member of the Jackson 5, died on September 15th after a suspected heart attack. Another member of well-known group The Four Tops, Abdul Duke Fakir, died in July. In November, the death of music legend Quincy Jones at 91 years of age was announced, and the world lost one of its most versatile and creative producers. In a career that spanned 7 decades, Jones helped create many of the biggest albums of the 20th century, including Michael Jackson's Off the Wall, Thriller and Bad. But he always said he couldn't pick a favourite artist.
How do you choose between Sinatra, Ray Charles, Aretha, Michael Jackson, Shaka Khan and 50 Cent? All you can do is just reach for those instincts and leave some room for God to walk through.
Winning 28 Grammys along with the rarely awarded Grammy Legend and a Medal of Honour from Barack Obama in 2011, Quincy Jones remained humble and down to earth, which he put down to advice he got from legendary French music teacher Nadia Boulanger in 1957. Rest in peace, Quincy.
Your music will never be more or less than you are a human being. So I tried to work on the human being.
There was sad news in the world of film in 2024 with the loss of Richard Lewis in February, best known for his role in Curb Your Enthusiasm, as well as filmmakers Roger Corman and Morgan Spurlock and British character actor Timothy West. And on one weekend in July, we saw the death of 3 famous American names known for their work on the small screen. American sex therapist and talk show host Dr. Root died at the age of 96. TV fitness guru Richard Simmons passed away just one day after his 76th birthday. And the death was also announced of Beverly Hills 90210 actress Shannon Doherty at the age of 53 following a long battle with cancer. Born in Memphis, Tennessee in 1971, Shannon got her big break at 11 years old when she starred as Jenny Wilder in the popular TV show Little House on the Prairie. She went on to feature in numerous TV shows and films, including as Heather Duke in the dark comedy Heathers. Following her stage 4 cancer diagnosis in 2020, Shannon started a new podcast called Let's Be Clear, where she opened up about her struggles. Here she is talking about her experiences. Rest in peace, Shannon.
Obviously, my biggest thing is I just don't want to die too soon because I have a lot to accomplish. My point is, I wish for something different. I wish this wasn't what I was dealing with in life. But then I always have to look at the other side of it and go, well, then what else would you be dealing with?
In February 2024, we lost former NFL player Carl Weathers, better known for his role as Apollo Creed in Rocky, and in March, the first black man to win a supporting actor Oscar, as well as an Emmy for his role in the seminal TV miniseries Roots. Louis Gossett Jr. also died. But in September, we said a sad farewell to a genuine giant of stage and screen, Dame Maggie Smith. The 89-year-old British actress began her career on stage in the 1950s and won her first first Oscar in 1969 for The Prime of Miss Jean Brodie. In later years, she became well known to younger generations through her role opposite Whoopi Goldberg in the Sister Act movies, and then as Professor McGonagall in the Harry Potter films, and later as the Countess of Grantham in Downton Abbey. A true national treasure, tributes to her were paid by King Charles and the PM Keir Starmer, as well as her many co-stars and directors. She remained incredibly modest about her success. Rest in peace, Maggie.
But I think it's just the parts are probably like that, Perhaps people always have sympathy for that kind of person, the downtrodden aunt in the corsets and the boots that I'm always in.
2024 kicked off with the loss of some well-known names from the world of politics with the death of John Bruton, a former Irish Prime Minister who played a key role in bringing peace to Northern Ireland. Later on in February, the world responded to the sudden death of Alexei Navalny in an Arctic Circle prison. His wife, Yulia, blamed Putin for killing her husband, and in a video released after his death, pledged to continue to help to build a free Russia.
My husband could not be broken, and that's exactly why Putin killed him. Shameful, cowardly, not daring to look into his eyes or simply say his name. As vile and cowardly, they are now hiding his body.
In America, it was no surprise to hear of the death of Ethel Kennedy at the age of 96, the wife of Senator Robert Kennedy. She raised their 11 children after his assassination in 1968 and remained dedicated to social causes and the family's legacy till her death. In Britain, well-known Scottish politician and former First Minister Alex Salmond died suddenly at the age of 69 in September of this year. The Alba party leader collapsed during a conference in North Macedonia and was pronounced dead at the scene. Having led the SNP to power in 2007 and then to an unprecedented majority in 2011, Salmond guided the party through the unsuccessful 2014 Scottish independence referendum. But after stepping down, things quickly unravelled as a string of sexual harassment allegations led to a spectacular fallout with his successor, Nicola Sturgeon. The following month saw the death announced of former Deputy Prime Minister John Prescott. The definition of a larger-than-life character, he became internet famous for punching a protester who threw an egg at him in 2001. But he dreaded that becoming his only legacy. He was a former trade union activist and merchant seaman who became a crucial part of Tony Blair's New Labour. He was 86 years of age and had been suffering ill health since a stroke in 2019. Tributes flooded in from across the political spectrum, from Tony Blair and Gordon Brown to the King and current Labour Prime Minister Keir Starmer. Rest in peace, John.
As one of the key architects of a Labour government, John achieved that rare thing. He changed people's lives and he set the path for us all to follow. And I will always be grateful to him for that.
In January 2024, we said goodbye to iconic artists of the silver screen, including Chita Rivera, who created the role of Anita in the original production of West Side Story, the English singer and actor David Soul, and Glynis Johns, who played the mother in the 1960s movie Mary Poppins. We were saddened in June to report that the actor Donald Sutherland died at age 88 after a long illness. The Canadian star won an Emmy and 2 Golden Globes in a long career, but was never nominated for an Oscar. He had a habit of choosing unusual and distinctive roles in what he called his meandering little career, but he was much loved for his appearances in movies such as Matt and Mr. Bennett in the 2005 version of Pride and Prejudice. His son Kiefer Sutherland was among those who paid tribute to a man he called one of the most important actors in the history of film. Donald was a passionate anti-war campaigner and took his recurring role in the Hunger Games in part to help wake a new generation to activism. Rest in peace, Donald.
Young people have to get out. You have to get out and change things. You really do. And it's up to you. We've wrecked this world, and if you're going to fix it, you've got to do it now.
In July, we lost another iconic American actor with the news that Shelley Duvall died at age 75. Best known for her role alongside Jack Nicholson in Stanley Kubrick's The Shining, Duvall also was a muse for director Robert Altman, starring in his movies like Thieves Like Us, Nashville and Popeye. September saw the death of James Earl Jones, the voice of Darth Vader at 93 years of age. He had one of the most iconic voices in cinema, lending his velvet tones to Darth Vader to Mufasa in The Lion King and as the voice of CNN. He was also technically an EGOT, having won 2 Emmys, 2 Tonys, a Grammy and an honorary Academy Award. He starred in many movies and TV shows, including Field of Dreams, Coming to America, and made 3 appearances on The Simpsons. There's one moment, though, that he'll never be forgotten for: the startling scene with Luke Skywalker in Star Wars Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back. Rest in peace, James.
Obi-Wan never told you what happened to your father.
He told me enough. He told me you killed him.
No, I am your father.
Still to come in the Standout 7, the world of sport loses influential figures and a world-famous music star dies too soon.
Right after this. Welcome back.
2024 saw the death of former TV fitness guru and more recent recluse Richard Simmons, as well as US talk show host Phil Donahue, who died at his home in New York, aged 88. Former American football star, actor and TV personality mired in controversy around the violent death of his ex-wife and her boyfriend O.J. Simpson died in April 2024 of cancer-related illness. He was 76 years of age. In August, the world was shocked by the death of Dr. Michael Mosley after a body was discovered around 30 minutes walk from where the missing British TV presenter had last been seen. Michael had vanished 5 days earlier after going for a walk on the Greek island of Symi, where he was holidaying with his wife. But the extensive search was called off when a local camera crew spotted a body on rocky terrain near a resort. Tributes flooded in for the well-known BBC TV and radio presenter, who was a pioneer of the 5-2 intermittent fasting diet, also known for his radical approach to TV science, often using himself as a guinea pig for self-experiments. Here's fellow TV doctor Phil Hammond talking about his former colleague.
One of the big strands he'll be remembered for is not just his popularising and explanation of science, but the fact that he would experiment himself. He would eat the tapeworm, he'd have the sigmoidoscopy, he'd smoke a cigarette and see what it did to him. And I think that's what made his storytelling so engaging. UK sports fans had some sad news in 2024 with the death of Leeds Rhinos legend and M&D advocate Rob Burrow, who passed away at the age of 41. In 2001, he made his Leeds Rhinos debut and remained at the club for his entire 16-year professional career, winning every honour as part of their golden generation. He also made a combined 18 appearances for England and GB throughout his career. But it was off the pitch that he made his biggest impact. Diagnosed with motor neuron disease in 2019, Rob dedicated his remaining years to advocating for those with M&D and raising millions for charity, and was named BBC Sports Personality of the Year, receiving the Helen Rollison Award in 2022. In August, the football world mourned as former England manager Sven-Göran Eriksson passed away. He'd been very open about his terminal cancer diagnosis and had tackled his bucket list with great gusto, including getting the chance to manage Liverpool for a game back in March. The Swede was England's first ever overseas manager, and he led England's golden generation to the quarterfinals of 3 major tournaments. Former England captain David Beckham was among those paying tribute. His death came only days after a Prime Video documentary simply called Sven, in which he addressed his feelings on his impending death. Rest in peace, Sven.
I have no pain, but I know it's there. One day it will take you. Before that day, live instead of sitting down thinking about what and when will it happen.
There was more music stars passing in October, including Cissy Houston, mother of Whitney Houston, herself a 2-time Grammy-winning soul and gospel artist who sang with Aretha Franklin and Elvis Presley. Another legend who sadly passed away at 90 years of age was British singer-songwriter and Rock and Roll Hall of Famer John Mayall, who died in California in July. Indie rock fans also suffered the loss of legendary icon Steve Albini, who died aged 61 in May 2024. He was just about to release a new album with his own band Shellac when he suffered a heart attack at his Electrical Audio Studios. He famously preferred to be called an engineer rather than a producer, but his magic helped to make classic albums like Nirvana's In Utero, The Pixies' Surfer Rosa and PJ Harvey's Rid of Me. He was also a world-class poker player, winning the World Series of Poker in 2022 and 2018. A lifelong fan of analogue recording, he had a real passion for the importance of authentic sound. Rest in peace, Steve.
Might sound slightly big-headed of me, but I feel like my day-to-day job is being a vector of history. Like, I'm making recordings which are going to sit on a shelf and then at some distant time are going to be discovered again. The making a permanent record, I take that aspect of it very seriously.
For many younger music fans, the tragic death of Liam Payne was their first experience of a musical hero dying too soon. In October, we reported that he died in Buenos Aires after what appeared to be a fall from a third-floor window of his hotel. Selling more than 70 million records as a member of One Direction, Payne had struggled to find the same success as a solo artist. There were tributes from his bandmates and former X Factor host Dermot O'Leary, who described Payne as a joy and always humble. Guardian music editor Ben Bowman Thomas told Sky News that Liam Payne was a big part of One Direction's success.
You don't become a huge successful band off a talent show without having absolutely bags of personality. Personality and sort of guile and excitement around them. And Liam was a big part of that.
The world of science was saddened to hear the death of Peter Higgs, aged 94, in April. The Nobel Prize-winning physicist proposed the existence of the so-called God particle that helped examine how matter formed after the Big Bang. The world of arts and literature saw the deaths of many iconic authors in 2024, including the Canadian Nobel laureate Alice Munro, famed for her short stories, who died in May, Irish novelist and boundary breaker Enda O'Brien, who died in July, and one of the UK's best-selling authors who wrote A Woman of Substance, Barbara Taylor Bradford, who died in November. 2024 was also the year we said goodbye to fashion icon Iris Arpfel, the UK comedian Janie Goodley, and some of the best-known radio personalities in the UK, including the legend that was Annie Nightingale, who died aged 83 after a short illness. Getting her start in the industry at 19 years old as a newspaper columnist, she made history in 1970 when she became the first female DJ on BBC Radio 1. There, she was able to interview the Beatles, whom she'd struck up a close friendship with. Here she is on Desert Island Discs in 2020, talking about her early experiences on the station. Rest in peace, Annie.
I think actually the BBC also wanted it to fail. I think they thought, and we'll give it a year, and I think they were, would be quite happy if it had not worked out. So there was a huge pressure on all of the people who worked in Radio 1 to make it happen. So they made their DJs super famous.
In February of 2024, the nation was genuinely shocked when the death of Steve Wright was announced. Tributes flooded in for the legendary BBC Radio 1 and Radio 2 presenter from fellow broadcasters including Simon Mayo, Tony Blackburn and BBC Director General Tim Davies. Steve Wright in the afternoon ran for 34 years across Radio 1 and Radio 2. Fellow Radio 2 presenter Sarah Cox was on the air when the news broke, and she paid tribute to a radio legend. Rest in peace, Steve.
Steve was an extraordinary broadcaster, a really, really kind person. He was witty, he was warm, and he was a huge, huge part of the Radio 2 family. And I know my fellow DJs will all be absolutely shattered too. And I imagine you're feeling sad too, and we are here for your messages.
You've been listening to The Smart 7. We'll be back tomorrow at 7 a.m. Hit that follow button and have a great day. Give us 7 minutes, we'll give you the world.